Greetings, I'm Dr. David Gersten. I practice integrative psychiatry and nutritional medicine. Amino acid therapy has been central to my work for more than 30 years, and that's the topic of this video. So, what are amino acids? They are the most important and powerful nutrients that we can consume. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and protein is the key to health and recovery from illness. Amino acids are also a major key to wellness and longevity. In essence, amino acids are the building blocks of life. Your body, minus water, is about 65% amino acids. Protein is made up entirely of amino acids. Every neurotransmitter except for acetylcholine is made of amino acids. Every hormone is made of amino acids. Some hormones, like insulin and growth hormone, are long chains of amino acids. Steroids and sex hormones are a combination of amino acids and essential fatty acids. Because few of us are biochemists or physiologists, most of us don't know much about amino acids. We're familiar with the names of vitamins like vitamin B, vitamin C, D, A, and vitamin E. We're familiar with minerals like magnesium, calcium, iron, zinc, iodine, and phosphorus. But the fact is that only a tiny percent of the population can draw a picture of a vitamin, mineral, or amino acid. And very few of us have any idea at all what they actually look like or what they do. So here's a picture showing the physical structure of an amino acid. The only thing that differs from one amino acid to another is the white box with the letter R. In order to make amino acid therapy easier to understand, I'll use a small colored sphere, which you see on the right in this graphic, to represent an amino acid, because you're never going to remember the biochemical structure of that unless you're a biochemist. Now, let's look at the various ways that amino acids connect with each other. In this graphic, there are numerous amino acid spheres with different colors. The different colors represent different amino acids. I'm using the metaphor of interconnecting beads to explain how one amino acid binds or connects to another amino acid. A dipeptide consists of two amino acids connected to each other. L-carnitine is an example of a dipeptide, and it's made up of the amino acids methionine and lysine. A tripeptide consists of three amino acids. An example of that is glutathione, our body's main detoxifier and a critical antioxidant. Glutathione is made up of the amino acids glycine, glutamic acid, and cysteine. A peptide is simply a short chain of amino acids. The hormone oxytocin, which is made up of 9 amino acids, is an example of a peptide. A polypeptide consists of up to 50 to 60 amino acids. One example of that is the hormone insulin, which is made up of 51 amino acids. Now, let's talk about protein. Remember, a protein is entirely made up of amino acids. There's no ironclad definition of a protein that distinguishes it from a polypeptide, but a generally accepted definition is this. A protein consists of 50 or more amino acids and has a three-dimensional structure. The largest human protein, called titin, which is also called connectin, is present in muscle. Titin contains somewhere between 27,000 and 33,000 amino acids. On this page, we're looking at the protein hemoglobin to illustrate the length and the three-dimensional nature of proteins. Hemoglobin, whose job is to carry oxygen and deliver it throughout the body, is made up of two chains of 141 amino acids each, plus two chains consisting of 146 amino acids each. The total number of amino acids in these combined four chains is 574 amino acids. Notice how complex the three-dimensional structure is. Also, notice that each chain is in the form of a spiral, as are all protein chains. You don't have to understand each atom and each chemical bond in an amino acid, peptide, dipeptide, tripeptide, polypeptide, or a protein. Just imagine that each amino acid bead is the building block of amino acid chains. Now we're looking at the relationship between our DNA and our amino acids, in particular the DNA and amino acid alphabets. So why are we looking at a picture of DNA? What does it have to do with amino acids? The answer has to do with what the genes in our DNA are doing. Our cells are loaded with amino acids. Each gene is the blueprint that organizes and assembles amino acids into a specific protein. The genes in our DNA provide the directions for assembling protein out of amino acids. There are only 4 letters or nucleotides in the DNA alphabet, namely cytosine, guanine, adenine, and thymine, or C, G, A, and T. These 4 nucleotides can only connect with each other in several different combinations, but the totality of these 4 letters in the DNA alphabet is our genetic foundation. On the right side of the page are the amino acids that genes help assemble into protein. Not all amino acids are part of protein chemistry. There are 2 main categories of amino acids. Essential amino acids are those that we have to get from our diet. Non-essential amino acids can be made inside our body from essential amino acids. The term non-essential amino acid is not quite accurate. Under mental or physical stress, we start having a harder time converting essential amino acids into non-essential amino acids. A more accurate term for non-essential is conditionally essential, because non-essential amino acids can become essential when we are physically or mentally stressed. With that said, essential amino acid has become the accepted term. Let's briefly run through a list of the 9 essential amino acids and the 11 non-essential amino acids that are involved in protein chemistry. Here are the essential amino acids: histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. And the non-essential amino acids that participate in protein chemistry are alanine, arginine, aspartic acid, asparagine, cysteine, glutamic acid, glutamine, glycine, proline, serine, and tyrosine. Now, what we're looking at is a printout of Genova Lab's amino acid analysis, which has 40 subtests to it. Based on my total of 2 hours of training in nutrition in medical school, I didn't learn much about amino acids, but that's also true for the general public. From the list I just read, you are probably most familiar with the words tryptophan, tyrosine, phenylalanine, and glutamine. Why don't you know the names of this entire alphabet? It's just due to a lack of ongoing exposure to these words and concepts. Much of the time, you will read or hear about amino acids as L-tyrosine, L-tryptophan, etc. In biochemistry, there are D and L forms of amino acids. The 2 forms are mirror images of each other. Only rarely do we focus on D forms. D-phenylalanine and D-L-phenylalanine are the main amino acid forms that are not pure L forms. In general discussions, the letter L is often dropped, so we might speak of L-tyrosine or just tyrosine, since 99% of the time we are talking about the L form of amino acids. After 50 years of clinical use, amino acids are still not part of what is reported by the media or in medical literature, but that is changing. When I began testing for amino acids 30 years ago, there was only one laboratory in the country that could run this test. Slowly things changed, and now numerous major institutions have high-quality equipment to test for amino acids. These institutions include the Mayo Clinic, Stanford, Harvard, the Cleveland Clinic, and most of the University of California campuses, including UCSD, UCLA, UC Loma Linda, and UC Berkeley. Now let's look at the main functions of the most common amino acid, starting with arginine. Arginine helps the artery walls to create nitric oxide. Nitric oxide does many things to assist artery health. It lowers blood pressure, increases elasticity and flexibility of arteries, and is involved in the creation of heparins, which are natural anticoagulants. Arginine is also involved in the production of human growth hormone. Alanine helps regulate blood sugar levels and is involved in the production of white blood cells called lymphocytes. Alanine is also an important energy source for muscle. Carnitine, which is a dipeptide, is critical to heart function. Cysteine is involved in detoxification. NAC, or N-acetylcysteine, is known for its ability to detoxify and for its role in the production of glutathione. Cysteine also has a role as an antidepressant. GABA is our natural Valium or Xanax, our most calming neurotransmitter. The cornerstone of brain chemistry problems and alcoholism is deficient GABA. Glutamine is involved in digestion, brain function, muscle chemistry, and the immune system. Glutamine is the number one nutrient that the cells lining the digestive tract use for fuel. Those cells lining the GI tract take up 80% of the glutamine we ingest. In the brain, glutamine turns into the neurotransmitters GABA and glutamate. Glycine has numerous functions. It's needed in order to build RNA and DNA. It helps build muscle, improves memory, assists in wound healing, helps stabilize mood, decreases allergy, decreases inflammation, fights stress and anxiety, increases energy, and is the primary component of collagen. Collagen is the connective tissue that makes up most of our skin, tendons, and ligaments. Histidine is needed to make hemoglobin and is involved in tissue repair and the strengthening of the immune system. Histidine increases libido. Arthritis is often associated with deficient histidine, and low histidine is associated with low zinc levels. Lysine helps build connective tissue, helps in the conversion of lipids into energy, and acts as an antiviral component. Lysine is also essential for bone growth. Isoleucine, leucine, and valine are called the branched-chain amino acids, and they're involved in muscle chemistry. A person deficient in these three is likely to be fatigued, weak, and has a hard time maintaining muscle mass. In terms of muscle chemistry, glutamine is also important in addition to the branched-chain amino acids. Methionine is the precursor to the amino acid cysteine, and cysteine is the main precursor to glutathione, our body's main detoxifier. Methionine assists with the production of immune cells, helps in general nerve function, and reduces histamine release and its related allergic response. Over the last 15 years, the role of methylation has become more and more important in our understanding of chronic illness. Methionine is what is called a methyl donor, and it's part of a healthy methylation pathway. Phenylalanine converts into tyrosine and is essential to the catecholamine neurotransmitters. Diphenylalanine helps alleviate pain. Proline is needed to build connective tissue like cartilage. Taurine, the most researched amino acid on Earth, stabilizes irritable tissue, which includes heart and brain tissue. For the brain, taurine is calming, helps with seizures and bipolar disorder. In the heart, taurine helps prevent arrhythmias, especially atrial fibrillation. Threonine helps prevent the buildup of fat in the liver and supports the heart, immune system, and central nervous system. Threonine assists in wound healing, aids in the production of antibodies, and is involved in blood sugar chemistry. Tryptophan is the precursor to the neurotransmitter serotonin. When serotonin is deficient, the main symptoms are problems with mood and sleep. Tyrosine is the precursor to the neurotransmitters dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. It's also the precursor to thyroid hormone, which is called thyroxine, and to melanin. If a person is deficient in tyrosine, there's a very good chance he or she will be deficient in the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. When norepinephrine is deficient, a person can be depressed, anxious, worried, have insomnia, and have trouble with memory, concentration, and a host of other cognitive problems. I became interested in amino acids 30 years ago because I knew that they played an important role in depression, anxiety, and insomnia. I began testing for amino acids and then making recommendations based on lab work. This approach led me into the world of treating chronic fatigue syndrome. I personally had a severe case of CFS that started in 1984, and it was mainly amino acid therapy that cured me. I became immersed in the treatment of CFS, now called CFS-ME, which stands for chronic fatigue syndrome / myalgic encephalopathy. and my interest led me to treatment of a wide variety of mental and physical symptoms and illnesses. 30 years later, amino acid therapy remains at the heart of the physical treatments that I recommend. And this graphic is very clear. My work is based on lab work, not guesswork. I will only make recommendations based on that lab work. Speaking of lab work, we are once again looking at Genova Lab's printout of their amino acid analysis. Not all labs are created equal. The amino acid testing done through Genova Labs tests for 40 different amino acids. Amino acid analysis is one of 5 major tests in Genova's NutriVal test kit. Many laboratories do amino acid testing that only has 20 subtests. In my opinion, that's not an adequate test in terms of treating complex and chronic health problems. Amino acid testing is the most important lab test in my experience to begin understanding total body biochemistry. It's not the only nutritional test that I order. The 3 most important nutritional tests that I order are amino acid testing, comprehensive stool analysis, and a urine test that measures organic acids, which are the breakdown products of some 40 to 45 reactions. Whether a chronic health problem is mental or physical, there are always quite a number of metabolic abnormalities, including numerous abnormalities with amino acid chemistry. When the amino acid deficiencies and imbalances are revealed by lab testing and are replaced, symptoms and suffering are usually alleviated. 80% of the people whom I treat for chronic illness have a very positive clinical response. While most of us are not disabled with chronic fatigue syndrome, many of us experience fatigue, feel drained at the end of the day, and want more energy. Many of us are depressed or a little bit moody. Almost all of us can improve our energy and mood through amino acid therapy. One thing I've learned is that no 2 people are biochemically identical. If I were to compare the lab work of 10 depressed people, you might think that those 10 people would have pretty similar lab work. But my experience is those 10 people are actually going to have biochemistry that's really pretty different. One thing I have learned is no 2 people are biochemically identical. The fact is that every person is unique in every way, and those 10 people with depression or any other health issue are going to have different amino acid profiles. There will be similarities, but there will also be unique features to each person's biochemistry. In order for amino acid therapy to be powerful and effective, I have to be prepared to see similarities and differences in every person with a particular condition. I should clarify that this treatment approach is not just about amino acids. I work with all nutrients, especially vitamins and minerals, that are essential cofactors to amino acid chemistry. Now, I want to talk about a couple of very, very common questions that people ask. First, why do people get out of balance in their amino acid chemistry? Number 1, inadequate diet, especially a diet that's too low in protein. Number 2, digestive problems like malabsorption are a huge issue. You may actually eat a diet that has substantial amounts of amino acids. But if your digestion's not great, that means you're not breaking down and absorbing 100% of what you're eating. Third, mental and physical stress increase the demands on the body and the need for a number of nutrients. 4, toxicity and inflammation are the 2 greatest problems of our time. Toxicity is everywhere. It's in the air, the water, the food. Therefore, toxins just build up inside of us, unless we make an effort to decrease toxicity in our environment and find ways to remove toxins from our body. The second question is this: can you heal the body by only treating brain chemistry? And the answer to that, in my experience, is no. I do think the top 2 priorities are treating the gut and treating brain chemistry. In addition, though, we're looking at the biochemistry of 70 trillion cells throughout your body. And those 70 trillion cells don't simply become healthy because the brain is now optimized. As a doctor practicing integrative psychiatry, I see many people who have been treated with a wide variety of antidepressants. Some have improved. Many are worse off, and they come to me to get off medications. Because amino acids are neurotransmitter precursors, amino acid therapy gets to the source of problems and does not just treat symptoms. Naturally, people who have great success with medications and who are doing well are not the people who seek out my treatment. I'm not anti-medication. I'm a pragmatist. Amino acids help alleviate symptoms, cure disease, and help us live longer and healthier. But complete healing is almost never going to take place if you only focus on healing brain chemistry. Integrative psychiatry does not simply mean that I mainly use non-drug approaches. It means that I look at everything in a person's life, making it truly a holistic approach, a body, mind, spirit approach. What a doctor believes and what a patient believes have a profound effect on the outcome. I believe that there is no mental problem that does not have a physical component, and there's no physical problem that does not have a mental component. Amino acid therapy is a very important modality. It's central to the work I do, but you have to understand the context of healing as well as the techniques. So the principles of holistic healing involve the following. 1. A holistic or integrative approach looks at every aspect of a person's life. 2. The practice of integrative psychiatry integrates conventional and alternative therapies in order to prevent and treat disease and to promote optimal health. 3. Understanding and utilizing the power of the mind-body connection is incredibly important. Interactive guided imagery is one of the tools I use that accesses the mind-body connection. 4. Helping patients realize that they have internal healing resources is key, and it's important that I help my patients tap into those inner resources. 5. Conventional medicine is basically reductionistic. It emerged directly from Louis Pasteur's germ theory, which essentially states that every illness is caused by one germ, and one drug should be able to treat that one germ. Integrative psychiatry is holistic and inclusive and seeks to understand the state of the internal healing environment. By the way, on Louis Pasteur's deathbed, he renounced his belief, and he stated that, quote, "The internal environment is more important than the vector." And by the vector, he meant the bug. What Pasteur was saying was the internal healing environment is more important than the bacteria, virus, or parasite that's, quote, invading you from the outside. 6. Integrative psychiatry strives to understand the person who has an illness and not just the symptoms or diagnosis. 7. I believe, that issues of purpose and meaning are really essential to a happy, fulfilled life, and that along with trust and hope, purpose has a lot to do with how we handle illness. 8. Healing is both an art and a science. 9. A major determinant of healing outcome is the quality of the relationship established between physician and patient, in which patient autonomy is encouraged. 10. Optimal health is much more than the absence of sickness. It's the conscious pursuit of the highest qualities of the physical, environmental, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social aspects of the human experience. Well, now that I've made things seem really complicated, let me try to make amino acid therapy really pretty simple with these 6 steps. Number 1, get a comprehensive evaluation from a doctor who has experience in amino acid therapy. 2, get nutritional lab work done. In particular, get amino acid analysis done. Number 3, Use individual amino acids for specific problems, such as tyrosine, to boost norepinephrine levels. Number 4, address amino acid patterns by taking a multi-amino acid. Two of the main patterns are the branched chain amino acids, which are involved with muscle chemistry, and the glycogenic amino acids, which are involved in blood sugar chemistry. 5, take important nutritional cofactors if they are deficient. And 6, include minimal nutritional support with vitamins and minerals. Now, let me explain a bit about this amino acid lab test. This is the third time I've shown it to you, and there's a reason for that. Number 1, I wanted you to get familiar just with what this amino acid test looks like and to see these names over and over again. This particular amino acid test are the results of a patient with chronic fatigue symptoms and a whole host of cognitive problems. The 3 black arrows are pointing at the branched chain amino acids, which are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. These are deficient, which helps explain the patient's muscle weakness and fatigue. I recommended a multi-amino acid geared toward muscle chemistry. The red arrow points at the low tryptophan. This person is deficient in the neurotransmitter serotonin. His mood should improve when we address this problem by supplementing with tryptophan and an important vitamin cofactor. The blue arrow points at methionine and indicates a potential problem with detoxification and methylation. I will want more information before I consider treating this particular issue. The green arrow points at phosphoserine, which is one of many subtests that indicates a deficiency in P5P, which stands for pyridoxal 5-phosphate, and P5P is the active form of vitamin B6. Tryptophan requires P5P in order to get converted into serotonin. There's a lot more information in this amino acid test, but this should give you an idea about what the test looks like and how the data is analyzed. My approach involves strategic psychotherapy along with nutritional recommendations. I know this is a video on amino acid therapy, but I do want people to understand that I see healing in terms of physical treatments along with strategic psychotherapy. The psychotherapy modalities I use are called mental fitness techniques. They include interactive guided imagery, meditation, use of the breath, mood words, and body-centered trauma resolution, or BCTR. Numerous studies have shown that the combination of psychotherapy plus a physical treatment is generally more effective than just one or the other. I have not found that long-term talk therapy is very effective. This form of work with mental fitness techniques does not involve much talking. A single mental fitness session can help cut stress in half for life if a person practices. Most people with mental or emotional problems have gotten used to psychiatric visits that last 15 minutes and end with a prescription being written. But what is the most important ingredient in healing? In my experience, healing begins the moment a doctor and patient meet. The doctor-patient relationship is the essential ingredient. Ideally, by the end of the first session, trust has been established. Out of that trust, genuine hope has begun to take root in my patient. Hope is physiological. If my patient walks out the door at the end of the first session feeling genuinely hopeful and optimistic, I know that the healing process has already started. This is the first of many videos I will be producing. You may want to watch it every now and then to become more familiar with basic amino acid names and biochemistry. It's a lot of information, and repetition is what's needed to learn a new subject. About half the people who seek out my help are dealing with mental emotional issues, and about half are dealing with physical issues. Whether your issue or a loved one's issue is mental or physical, having an understanding or appreciation for amino acid therapy could be the key or the turning point in your healing journey. Thank you for watching. If you found this information useful or interesting, please click like and hit the subscribe button below. I'm Dr. David Gersten, wishing you the best of health.